Hi and welcome to Rank Management System developed using object-oriented technique in Visual Basic. Okay, let me show you guys how this works. We can always reset or maybe click on exit, no, and click on reset there. Let's enter data in there. Let's say it's RT. That's for the rent, and say RTE. Okay, now the name is, let's go for Tommy Larry, and the address is that, let's call that Goodman Close, postcode town London, form of identification, let's say student ID, and down payment and deposited, that's what was deposited, and we're talking of flats too, and we now need the cost per month. Right, now location, that's London. Electricity, local tax, and water, and click on confirm there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you guys straight into Visual Basic development environment, and we put one of these object-oriented program together. So let's do that now, guys. Hi and welcome to Visual Basic object-oriented tutorial of a rental management system. I'm going to start by clicking on create new. Now the project dialog box is ready. I'm going to give this project a name. I'll call it VB_OO_rental system. There we go, and click on OK. Okay, now that the form is ready, I'm going to enhance the size of this form. Let's make it 1386 by, let's go for 800. And right here in the form, I'm going to enter as follows. That's rank management system. Then the next thing I'd like to do is let's come straight to the start position, get it centered, and that's all for the form. Okay, so the next thing I'd like to do now is let me go straight to the project, because this is going to be an object-oriented tutorial. Let's click on add class, and right in there, the first class I'd like to create, I'm going to call that C rental, and just click on add. So that is my class created. Okay, since that is have a C rental, maybe let's create another class. I'm just going to call that, I'm going to call the second class, I'm going to call it C customer, because I really do need one of those. Right, that's my second class. Now for the C rental, that's to do with the properties. So let's go for the following. So I'm going to say private properties. Now that's meant to be something like flat. Let's say flat as integer there. And what else do we have? Let's say we have another one, private house as, let's just say that one is going to be string. House can also be 2-bedroom house, 1-bedroom house as well, so I might as well just make that integer. And now what about private location of the property? Location as string. Right, so I may have to add other data member for the rental property because I don't know much about real estate. So let's go straight into the customer. So as for the customer, I can always have private customer and so on. So let me just copy all of this, dump it in. So I'm going to paste that in there. So let's call this customer ID. Let's make that string. And what else do we have of the customer? So in this case, customer, let's go for, okay, let's just say first name. Customer's first name, string as well. Then we have customer surname. Right. What else can we have of the customer? This customer might have an address and proof. Let's go for maybe, okay, postcode, and what else? The town, and here proof of ID. Right. Now we have all of the information we required from the customer and the rental, but all of these data type are all private. So for us to be able to gain access into it, the first thing I like to do is let me take care of this rental first. So I'm just going to come right down here. The choice is yours. You can always say private or public sub, and let's call that set flat, and let's go for by value as integer. There, and let's say and sub. Right, that is one. So the choice is yours, and in there all we just need to do is customer ID equals flat equals value. Now to retrieve this data, we need to be able to gain access into it. So I'm going to use public function. So in this case, it's going to be get flat. Okay, enter, parenthesis in there, press enter, and right in there is going to be return flat. So you can do it like that. The choice is yours. Or there's another way out with the Visual Basic built-in function. I'm going to use this data member as well. The other method is I can always say public. So let's call that. Let's call the property public properties, and that property I'm going to call it C flat. And that is going to be as integer. Right. And in here, instead of this very method here, I'm just going to enter set and press enter. There we go. So all we just need to do is copy all of this information in here. That is for flat equals value, and return is that. So the choice is yours between this very method or this very method. So we have two different ways of taking care of that. So I'm going to delete that, the one right at the top. Have a good look at it before it's deleted. Okay, so now let's delete that. I'm going to settle for this. Now the next thing we want to do is repeat exactly the same thing for the other data type up there. I'm just gonna copy that, paste that, and change it around. That's going to be see a house. See house, and this become house. This is house as well. Okay, now let's go for the third one. Paste, and right here, that's location of the property. Copy and change this to see location. And there, that's taken care of. So the class of the rental is all taken care of. Have a good look at it before I collapse it. Right, so I'm now going to just collapse it all so that we can take care of that of the customer. So customer coming right there, change that. Oh, let's copy that in here. Let's copy anything here so that we can use that to speed up that of the customer. I believe you all get the whole idea now. So the first one is going to be C, customer ID, and this is string. And let's change this to customer ID. Customer ID there, and this is string as well. Right, that's taken care of. But one thing first, let me just check this and make sure it's all right. Location is meant to be string, so let's change that. That's a problem when you copy, you have to be careful. Location here is string as well. Right, so hopefully I've taken care of that. Now that's customer taken care of, customer ID. Now let's go for first name. Copy that, paste first name, repeat exactly the same thing. First name is string. Right, so I'm going to repeat the same thing for the surname and so on. Okay guys, I have completed that of the customer. Let me just show it to you guys. That's how it looks like now. So those are the method that we will use for to be able to enhance those data members. Okay, there we go. That's it, all done. But there's one more thing. Let's come into this very first one. Now I'm going to have to declare another data member in there, and I'm going to call that data member cost, because at one point you're going to have to pay something. So the cost of flat or the cost of, okay, cost of flat or cost of a house. So I'm just going to copy all of this and just change it around. So that's the third one. So let's come right down here and just paste those in there just for cost. So let's copy just one and change that to cost. Cost of renting a house, or right. So that is that done. But the other thing I like to do now is I'm going to create another class. So this other class, I'm going to call that utility. Let's come in here and just let's collapse all of this. Right underneath here, we create another class. We call it CUT. It is okay. That's my other class. So the utility I may have, let's say, let's call that local tax. Okay, we have, that's supposed to be down. We have local tax as double. Then let's say we have water as double as well, and water is, and the next utility bill is going to be, let's see, electricity as double. Okay, there's one more thing I left out here. You see right in here, I think I was meant to enter room number. Let's say private room number or number of rooms. I'm sorry about this because I don't have any experience dealing with real estate, so I'm just making this up. So that's number of rooms. So in the case of number of rooms, let's go for another. Let's create something for number of rooms. Just paste that in there and change this to number of rooms. Number of rooms, and there we have number of rooms. Let me copy that. So come right down here, change all of this value to number of rooms there, and right here as well. Okay, so guys, you can have a good look at all of these classes that I've created. That is for the rental. In the rental I have 5 data member, and there they all are. Okay, that is for the, now let's have a look at the customer. Right in here, that's for the customer. I think I have about 7 data member with the customer. And finally, the utility. Okay, let's take care of the utility method as well. So I'm just going to copy this utility. I think utility is all mostly double anyway, so come right in here. Let's collapse this. Now paste that in there. It's double anyway, so let's change that to double. And the first one is going to be that of the local tax. Paste and paste, and change this to double as well. Right, local tax here. Get rid of that. So as the first one, I'm just going to copy that and change the other ones around. And the next one is going to be for water bill. Let's just water bill or water rate. Let's just call it water bill. Right. Now that becomes water bill here, and this as well. Okay, the next one is the electricity bill. Right, and just copy electricity and change it around. And there we go. That's it. So now what I'm going to do is, before I continue, I'm going to create what is known as aggregation. So this is done. Now let's collapse that as well. So we have, in total I just have 3 different classes here. You guys can add more. Alright, before I create this aggregation, I think I'm going to have to add 2 more details in here. That's going to be because it's likely the customer might be able to pay some deposit. So let's say that is the deposit can be double, and that would be the deposit. And what about down payments? We can also have down payment, right? So that's going to be double as well. And there, hopefully I will not carry out any more changes to these customers details anymore. Now that we have the customers details for deposit and down payment, okay, so let me just copy this and change things around. So this is going to be C deposit, right, and this will be deposit, and let's change in here to double. Okay, this is double as well, and this is deposit, right? And one more, and hopefully we wouldn't have to carry out any more changes here. So the next one is going to be down payment, because I believe anywhere you go to rented properties you have to put something down, which is the deposit, and if you have some money you can pay, you can always do that as well. So let's move this down so that the arrangement is consistent. So let's come in here and just paste that there. Right, that will be the customer taken care of. So now let's collapse that for the customer, and let's collapse that of utility bills as well. I cannot think of any other utility bills that needs to be paid. But right here now I'm going to now create, let's say, public class. I'm going to call that billing cost, or cost of bill. Okay, billing cost, that's fine. Now in there, let's go for public I customer as new customer, C customer. There, that is 1. So this is called aggregation because I'm actually creating objects that represent the content I have up there, that represent each class. Rental, and this is going to be known as iRental. Then this one is going to be C utility, utilities there, and let's change this one to I utility. So in here, in this very method, I will now enter as follows. Let's say public, create a method that will carry out the calculation. Let's say overrideable, I think is this one, yeah, function, and it's going to be known as total bill. Now inside this function, let's ask it to return the following. The first one is going to be what? Let's say customer. Let's say C customer dot, I think we have deposit. The deposit, we don't have to take that off, maybe for the first one. Then C customer again, no, undo that. Let's copy C customer. C customer dot, that will be down payment, right? So now that we have that, let's add, we need to add the utilities. What about rent? Let's go for rent first. Rent, and let's see, what do we have inside rental? Inside rental we have, okay, that's going to be number of rooms. Number of rooms multiplied by cost. Cost should be double. Cost is double, so that means we have to change this to double as well, and this will be double as well. Okay guys, sorry about that. Suppose you guys are able to follow along. Alright, cost is double, number of room multiplied by cost. Okay, now let's come down here. Rental dot cost multiplied by rental dot number of rooms. So these two, let's group them together. There. So that is taken care of. And now utilities, we have three different types there: the tax, water bill, and electricity. So plus utility, I utility dot electricity, or C local tax, plus I utility dot electricity, plus I utility dot C water. There. Maybe we should just break that apart. Now that is it. That's the method that calculates everything for us. So guys, I'm going to call it the end of this first part of this tutorial, but just before I go, let me show you. Here are the classes. This is the very first one, so you need to create something to do with the rent, and have a good look at it, and come right down. Okay, so because the rent is private, we need to be able to modify it one way or the other. That's why we have this. Okay, if this was public, I would have leave it like that, just carry out the calculation. Okay, that's the class for the rent. Now the next class is that of the customer. That's the customer class. Okay, so let's take it down so that you guys can see the rest. This is part of the class customer's data type, right? And there. So the next one is the utility. We have the utility. That's it. And that's all there is to it for the utility. And finally, we have where we calculate the cost of everything using aggregation, just grouping together all of the classes and calling them in here. So that will be the end of my first part of this tutorial, and I'll see you guys later.